Shalom, and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is a recording of a Shabbat sermon with Rabbi Chaim Singer-Franks.
Parashat Naso is the longest parasha in the Torah at 176 verses. So if you were planning on leaving early, you picked the wrong Shabbos. In the book of Proverbs, in Mishlei, chapter 18, verse 21, we have one of the most enduring maxims of our tradition. Mavet v'chaim biyad lashon. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. In today's parasha, at the opening of chapter 5 of Bamidbar, God commands a quarantine, kol tsarua v'chol zav, anyone with a skin eruption, anyone with a flow of a disease. Taken purely as a medical directive, this makes a great deal of sense. Tsa'arat is commonly translated as leprosy. Though over the centuries, the translation was largely set aside. The ailment described in the Torah bears little resemblance to Hansen's disease, the dreaded leprosy witnessed by missionaries in impoverished countries, with its ghastly falling of limbs. There is, however, renewed speculation that the tsa'arat of the Torah may indeed have been what is now called tuberculoid leprosy, a far milder form, presenting with lesions not unlike those described in the text. If caught early, it is eminently treatable. Left untreated, it can in some cases become severe. From a medical perspective, then, the Torah's prescription for isolation and quarantine signals a pre-modern public health wisdom of remarkable prescience. Fascinating indeed. However, that is not per se the direct path for today's meditation. Through the principle of smichut parshiot, the interpretive reading of one Torah passage in light of its textual neighbors, we are drawn to ask, what meaning lies beneath the surface of these afflictions? And here, something striking. In Parashat Naso, no specific spiritual transgression is directly linked with tsa'arat. Verses immediately following the quarantine command restitution for sin, but those sins are not named. The proximity invites us to infer. It does not compel us to conclude. Someone's at the door. Elsewhere in the 13th through the 15th chapters of Vayikra, the Torah's treatment of tsa'arat is elaborate and largely procedural. The priest examines, declares, later re-examines. Purgation of skin is prescribed, but again, the particular transgression remains unstated. So where does our tradition locate the sin behind tsa'arat? The rabbis look to Bamidbar, chapter 12, where Miriam speaks against Moshe's Cushite wife and is stricken. And I quote, "Vatidaber Miriam ve'Aharon b'Moshe al odot ha'isha kushit asher lakach ki isha kushit lakach." And Miriam and Aharon spoke against Moses because of the Cushite woman whom he had married, for he had married a Cushite woman. Vayichar af Adonai bam vayelach. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against them, and it's very, very interesting. I'd like to point out, Vayichar af, the imagery of God's anger, is the flaring of God's nostrils. And he departed. V'ha'anan sar me'al ha'ohel, v'hinei Miriam mitza'arat kesheleg. Vayifen Aharon el Miriam, v'hinei mitza'arat. And when the cloud was removed from over the tent, behold, Miriam was leprous, as white as snow. And Aharon looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Vayomer Aharon el Moshe, Bi Adoni, Al na taseh aleinu chatat asher no'alnu ve'asher chatanu. And Aharon said to Moses, O my Lord, lay not, I pray thee, sin upon us, for that we have done foolishly, and for that we have sinned. What happens next is remarkable. Moshe, the object of Miriam's gossip, whose wife she has disparaged, cries out on her behalf. And from this moment, our tradition of refuah shlema, of the Mishaberach, takes root. Vayitzak Moshe el Adonai lemor, el na refa na la. And Moses cried out unto God, saying, Heal her now, O God, I beseech thee. Moshe becomes our mentor in selflessness, interceding for the one who wronged him, projecting his authority, not in judgment, but in mercy. And yet, God is not moved to lift the punishment immediately. Vayomer Adonai al Moshe, ve'aviha yarok yarak bifaneha, halo tikalem shivat yamim, tisager shivat yamim michutz lamachane ve'achar te'asef. And the Lord said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, should she not hide in shame 7 days? Let her be shut up without the camp 7 days, and after that she shall be brought in again. The tradition offers other instances. In Melachim 2, Tza'arat falls upon Gehazi for lying to Elisha. In Divrei Hayamim, Chronicles 2, Melech Uzziah, in his haughtiness, presumes to offer sacrifice in the temple, and he too is stricken. And the Talmud, in Tractate Arachin 15b, makes the association explicit. Rav Chisda says that Mar Ukva says, with regard to anyone who speaks malicious speech, the Holy One, blessed be He, says about him, he and I cannot dwell together in the world. Rabbi Yosei ben Zimra says anyone who speaks malicious speech will be afflicted by leprous marks coming upon him. Time and time again, the tradition links tza'arat to lashon hara, malicious speech, gossip, tale-bearing, and the remedy, whether in Vayikra or in Naso, is isolation, banishment from the camp of the people. We know something about the weight of social isolation. The pandemic taught us that. But consider what it means when the Torah prescribes isolation not for a contagion of the body, but for a contagion of the mouth, the tongue as disease vector, the gossiper in quarantine, mavet v'chaim biyad halashon. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. Now return with me to Parashat Na'aso. Immediately following the passages on Tza'arat, we encounter the Torah of the Sotah, the ritual of the accused wife. A husband's jealousy, with no requirement of proof, is sufficient to invoke the ordeal. The accused woman is brought before the Kohen, curses are written on a scroll, then dissolved into an elixir of water and earth, which she must drink. If guilty, her body bears the verdict. If innocent, she's cleared and restored. The Sotah ritual, by any reading, a deeply troubling passage. And yet, through Smichut Parshiot, we are compelled to ask, what's it doing here, sitting directly alongside Tza'arat? Perhaps because both passages are, at their core, about the same thing: the power and the peril of accusation, of words spoken against another. In the case of Miriam, of Gehazi, of the Talmudic gossip, the burden of the disease falls on the one whose tongue has transgressed. The tale-bearer bears the stigma. The gossiper enters quarantine. And in the case of the Sotah, however the ritual plays out, the lasting wounds, the reputations fractured, the trust broken, the social fabric torn, belong not only to the accused, but to everyone whose words set the ordeal in motion. It calls to mind an old parable. A man came to his rabbi, deeply troubled. He had spread rumors about a neighbor, lies, gossip, and now regretted it bitterly. "Rabbi," he said, "how do I make it right? I'll do anything." The rabbi said, "Go home, take your feather pillow, cut it open, and scatter the feathers into the wind. Then come back to me." The man thought this strange, but he did it. He climbed to his rooftop, sliced open the pillow, and watched the feathers explode into the sky, hundreds of them carried in every direction by the wind. He returned to the rabbi. "I've done it. Now what?" The rabbi looked at him and said, "Now go and gather every feather." The man stared. "But Rabbi, that's impossible. They've gone everywhere. I could never find them all." "Exactly," said the rabbi. "And so it is with words. Once spoken, they fly to the places you never intended, and you cannot call them back. This is why we must guard our mouths before we open them, not after." So we must ask, what truly is the disease? Is it the leprous scab, or is it the running mouth? The word Bamidbar, the name of this very book, can be voiced ba midaber, in the matter of one who speaks. And so the book itself asks, upon whom does the curse fall? At the close of chapter 6 of this same parashah, following the laws of the Nazirite, of the Nazir, as if to answer, comes the most luminous expression of what a mouth can do when consecrated to holiness. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmarecha. God bless you and protect you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. God deal kindly and graciously with you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. God bestow favor upon you and grant you peace. The same mouth that destroys, the same tongue that gossips, accuses, demeans, is the same tongue with which we bless our children each Shabbat, is the same tongue our Shaliach Tzibur uses to bless the congregation during the repetition of the Amidah. The same tongue can be the vessel through which God's blessing flows into the world. Parashat Naso holds both truths at once. It asks us to choose which one we will embody. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, so may we choose life.
You've been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast website or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information on Temple Beth Am, Los Angeles, please visit www.tbala.org.